Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Call the meeting to order. Nice to see such a large crowd. Haven't had this crowd in probably a couple of years, I guess. So it's nice to see everyone here. In accordance with South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, Section 3480-E, South Carolina Code 1987 is amended. All of the meeting and the meeting area will be notified the date, time, location, and agenda of the meeting. This time we have our prayer by Mr. Goban.
Thus bow our heads. Father, it is again we come for us to say thank you. We thank you, Lord, for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. Thank you, Lord, for these children, these young folks, who have excelled in the different areas of academics. We ask, Lord, that you will continue to guide and direct their path. We ask that you will direct this meeting as it should be, and that we do what's in the best interest of our children and citizens of Dauphin County. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Let's just stand for the pledge of allegiance to the pastor.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now ask approval of the agenda. Second. Discussion. All in favor of the approval of the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Citizens' comments. We have one person signed up tonight. I'll read. That just a minute. Ms. Dora Backus. First 30 minutes of the monthly meeting will be set aside for 3-minute input sessions for citizen participation. Participation will be approved on a first come, first talk basis. It's recorded on a log which is provided. Public input should be in the form of suggestions, information, or comments pertaining to programs, schools, or the school district. Based on legal advice of our council, comments should not be made either complimentary or critical, naming either student, school employee, administrator, or board member, as these matters are personnel matters that require an executive session. Speakers' comments will be received only as board information. Ms. Backus, welcome.
Thank you. I'm here tonight because I know about Rosenwald School. I was a fresh graduate of Rosenwald School in my family. And the reason I want to name the state Rosenwald School because Mr. Julius Rosenwald decided that we, as African Americans, should have a school. That's the reason I think the school should remain Rosenwald only. I understand the board has not made a decision, but I pray that when you make that decision, you let it be Rosenwald. We didn't have a school, but Julius Rosenwald decided that we should have a school, and the school is named after him. And we want that school to remain Rosenwald only. No additional name, please, be added to Rosenwald School. My whole family graduated from Rosenwald Elementary and High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to honors, awards, and recognitions. We have quite a few awards to give out tonight. The first awards are 2022 Art Business Grand Prize winners. Ms. Carlene, I think you're going to handle all these first ones, right?
All right, good evening. We are going to take this opportunity to pause and recognize our academic awards. And as you said, we have quite a few. And so before we get started, I'm just going to give a few guidelines to help everybody as they move along. Students, when I call your name, we're going to ask you to come forward and you will take a group picture. So stay up here until all of the members of that particular organization come up and you'll take one group picture instead of a picture individually. Parents, as they walk up, we want to recognize you as well. So as your child is walking up, we ask you to please stand because we think you deserve the honor also. The next thing we're going to also ask you to do is, ask you to be aware of is, we have one group that is very large, and that's the winter ensemble. So we're going to ask that everybody wait until after all of the awards are called. Ms. Childers will meet you in the back so that you can take that group picture outside because that group is extremely large. And at this time, we'll move forward with our recognition. Our first recognition is the Art and Business Grand Prize winners. And so we have students in each grade band, K through 5, Aziz, Fagan, teacher, Rita, am I, somebody's coming? Oh, sorry. Here it is, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Good time.
All right. Aziz, Fagan, teacher Rita Zaghetti, Pate Elementary School, and the principal is Ms. Shannon Frazier. Our next recognition is 3rd through 5th grade. Ariana Jackson. Jamar Sabado is a teacher. J.L. Kane Elementary, principal is Stephanie Bridges. Grades 6 through 8, Aiden Blackman, teacher, Mr. Clarence DeVos, school, Spalding Middle School, where the principal is Nicole Jones. And our final student with Arts and Business recognition is Nathan Evans. Nathan is a student at Hartsville High School. His work was submitted at DCIT, where the teacher is Ashley Nesbitt Cook. Director, Mr. Robbie Smith.
Okay.
If you would please give these students a round of applause.
Y'all get it nice and tight. Nice and tight.
Good.
Okay? Ready?
She smile.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next recognition is for the 2022 South Carolina Skills USA State Competition. The Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry workers together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. Skills USA serves middle school, high school, and college post-secondary students who are prepared for careers in trade, technical, and skilled service occupations. Cody Wall of Darlington High School is a student who attends DCIT and won first place in the electrical construction wiring state competition at the recent state conference.
Ready?
Recognize that mom over there with Ken.
There we go.
Would you please give him a round of applause? Our next recognition is for our outstanding seniors. We have two types of recognition under this category. The first one is for students who have earned an associate's degree with Florence Darlington Tech as a part of the Darlington High School's early college program. I want to ask the following students to please come forward and also recognize that this program is at Darlington High, where principal is Ms. Courtney Gerke and the director is Ms. Deborah Wallace. First student, Kelsey Bryant, who has an Associate of Arts degree. Michaela Buck, Associate of Arts degree. Niaja Fry, Associate of Arts degree. Trinity Harold, Associate of Arts degree. Marissa Morris, Associate of Arts degree. And Joy Gregg, Associate of Arts and Associate of Science degree.
Y'all scoot in nice and tight. Y'all scoot in nice and tight. Ladies, if you would turn slightly at an angle for me, please. There you go, and scoot in nice and tight. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Parents, stay as long as you want to take pictures. This is your time. And their time. All right. Congrats. We're going to have you all walk over to make sure we get you the right certificate. Because we want you to believe that you really did accomplish this, so we need to get the right name on it.
Our next recognition is for students who attend Hartsville High School in our International Baccalaureate program, where the principal is Mr. Corey Lewis, director is Paula Alvarez. Students, when I call your name, please come forward. Chad Hall, Carson Hodges, Christopher Johnson, Ray Mays, and Stella Tu. Once again, these students earned the full IB diploma, and they're recognized for this great accomplishment.
Ready? Thank you.
This way, guys. Yep.
Our next program, that we're going to acknowledge at this time is the Accelerate program, where we have a partnership with the South Carolina Governor's School of Science and Math. We have one student who has completed this intensive engineering program that was delivered through the Governor's School here in Hartsville, as well as attending the classes here at Mayo also. That student is David Corey. I did not say Principal
All right, my
Dr.
turn.
Arlene Wallace. She's gonna stand by you since you didn't call my name.
I'll take a picture. I'll try to get a picture.
All right, our final recognition, and that's not the final recognition. We have another one, is our South Carolina Junior Scholars. These students are middle school students who are identified by the State Department of Education in the 8th grade based on exceptional academic talent. And they usually are identified via PSAT as well, or excuse me, SAT, PSAT, or state scores. Our first student is from Darlington Middle School, and I hope I pronounced it correctly. Is it Jenny Jang? Catherine Owl. Haley Gerke. These three students our students at Darlington Middle School, where Mr. Eddie Schuler is principal. Our next students, Jackson Forrester of Hartsville Middle School. John Winburn. Is this Calliope? And I couldn't pronounce it right. Calliope? Calliope. Okay. Williams. And Shrija Mahanti. All of these students are from Hartsville Middle School. These last four students are from Hartsville Middle School, where Mr. Brian Hickman is principal.
Congratulations.
All right, y'all gotta scoot it nice and tight. Really tight. Really tight. Turn a bit at an angle. Let's squeeze you in there. Now, all right. I can make this work. Ready? Thank you.
Let the parents go.
Oh, little duck.
Great job.
And this is our final academic recognition, 2022 Scholastic Novice Percussion State Championship with our winter ensemble. These are students at Hartsville High School, and they've earned first place in the Scholastic Novice Percussion Division at the 2022 South Carolina Band Directors Association Winter Ensemble Championship. The following students were a part of this musician group. Please come forward. Principal, Mr. Corey Lewis. Director, Mr. Cameron Green.
So many of them. So we-
Dr. Newman has asked if you just walk by and be recognized up front. You go back, and again, after all of the awards, you'll meet the children in the back to take one group picture, okay? LaSalle Award. McCain Mullis. Brody Hurd. Riley Johnson. Kate Bethea. Aiden O'Bannon. Noah Turner. Evan DeBellis. Jacob Perdue. Joey O'Neill. Nakia Johnson. Dustin Gaiman. Brody Conway. Tegan Lillian. Patrick Thomas. Ethan Griggs. Joanna Neary. And Regina Neary.
Say congratulations.
Please give these students a round of applause.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Newman. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce some of our student athletes for some of their accomplishments this year. We're going to start with wrestling, and if we can have Mr. Lewis as principal of Hartsville High School, and we have Coach Michael Lynch and Richard Hunt. If they're here, if they can stand up, announce them. We have 3 Hartsville High wrestlers that earned the North-South All-Star Wrestling Team, and they are Logan Berger, Robert Williamson, and Alex Hunt. Can you please step forward?
We'll have you stay. Get off track.
Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause. Next, we have 6 Hartsville High students, wrestlers that earned the 2022 South Carolina Wrestlers Coaches Association All-State Wrestling Team, and they are as follows: Zachary Lynch, Kimball Moore, Jude Yates, Josh Mullins,
Congratulations.
Jackson Chavis, and Logan Berger.
Good job. Made it back up again. Sorry.
All right, y'all definitely need to squeeze in.
Audrey, just make sure we give extra time for parents. Okay?
Absolutely, yes. All right, ready? Thank you.
Good job.
Next, we're fortunate to have 2 state championship wrestlers at the same high school, and you can hear his name a lot. First, we have Logan Berger, who won the 2022 152-pound weight class. And next, we have Jackson Chavis, who won the 220-pound weight class. So congratulations to both of our state champions. And Jackson is only a freshman, so he has 3 years to try to repeat. Next, we have the South Carolina Wrestlers Coaches Association 4A Senior Wrestler of the Year, and again, Logan Berger.
Medals around your neck. Be hanging down by now,
Suitcase or
so
something there.
add on to that. That's awesome.
Next, we have a few more Hartsville High School students. First, we have Kendon Dawson, who was named to the North-South All-Star Girls Basketball Team. And finally, we have two more Hartsville High students that earned the 2022 South Carolina Basketball Coaches Association All-Star, All-State Basketball Team. Again, Kendon Dawson and Jamari Briggs. We will make sure they receive their awards. Again, thank you parents for your support. Can y'all like spread out a little bit?
Motion adjourned. Okay, we'll move on. Where we are. Move on to consent items, adult education and missions.
Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation.
Second. Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes, April 11th, 2022 regular meeting. Minutes, April 5th, 2022 board work session.
Chairman, I move we accept both. Yeah.
Second. Any discussion on that?
Need that anymore.
All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next Garden County Board of Education work session scheduled for Monday, May 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the board training room in Darlington. The next regular meeting is scheduled for June 13th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the board training room at the district administration office. Moving on, capital project update. Mr. Johnson.
Again, good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'll try to talk loud so we don't have to use the microphone.
Thank you.
You have before you a list of completed capital projects that we've completed over the last couple of years, and you can also see some of the in-progress capital projects. Above, at the top of the list, you see we've completed almost $3 million in capital projects to include roof and paving, washing machines, running track, canopies, gators for our athletic teams, as well as lights for our athletic teams, as well as weight room renovations.
We just had that, I'm sorry. I don't think
I sent it in my board
It
brief.
was
I
sent
was
to
saying that you
board
said it's
briefing.
the same one. Okay, all right, thank you. Where's,
It's in the
In
board
the board
brief. It
brief.
was sent in the board brief on
It's
Friday.
on my printer that I printed.
I'll go back to the board brief, gotcha.
Some of the computer also.
Renee, you got an extra copy? From this morning?
Don't worry about it, it's my fault, I just didn't reach under there to grab it. I'm good.
I got extra.
Sure. Printed it, didn't it? So I'll give you a chance to glance at it a little bit, but those are some of the completed projects that we've done through fiscal year of June 30th, 2022, which totals about $3 million. Any questions about the first list? The second list, if you look at in progress capital projects, some of the top things that we're doing, it includes the demolition of Lamar Elementary School, which we just got the information that the bid should go out within the next 2 weeks for that. Also, we have a handicap ramp at Darlington High School, intercom system for DCIT, and that just helps with safety so that if his students are outside, they can hear what's going on in the building. So we have that intercom system being put in, as well as renovation of Building 400, and metal detectors, large equipment for maintenance, and several other projects that you can see, and I'll give you a chance to look over and see if you have any questions. And those budgets equal about $6 million, a little over $6 million that will total for those projects in progress.
So that's just 4.5 for what you described.
Yeah, I went to some of the back too. I did the 2 point.
And, yep, and so, and also some of those are ESSER funded projects too. So as you get a chance to review those are noted, what's being paid with ESSER money versus what's being paid with capital money. So,
Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Softball bathrooms at Lamar High School.
Yes, sir.
What kind of mobile units? Is it going to be mobile or are they going to be permanent?
It'll be permanent mobile units with about, on the men's side, it was 4 urinals and, it was 4 urinals of men, and then just a regular toilet, as well as in the women's, it's 5 toilets on that side. It's a unit that will stay, has to be approved by OSF, and that's gonna be a permanent unit.
but it's pre-built is what.
Yeah, it's pre-built, yes, sir, it is.
it's not
Yeah, we're not having to build it.
It's not going to be moved.
No, it'll stay there forever.
Pre-built.
We're running water, sewer, and everything to it.
Handicap accessible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because
It's about the metal detectors line.
Yeah, so that came from the last board meeting when I mentioned that we were doing some demos and then we would start looking at the potential of that. That's a potential cost if we move forward with that. We have not made a decision. We certainly would come back to the board on that as we go through that process. But we did want to put a placeholder there, just so you all know how much that could potentially cost us if we move forward.
Can you repeat what the question was?
So, Ms. Kelly asked about the metal detector line item.
Okay.
And it was based off of the last board meeting when I said that we would be looking at some metal detectors. And then that's just a placeholder cost, but we would certainly want to come to the board first before we decided to move forward on that particular.
Also to include, we met with ADs today just to talk about closing out and things we need to look for capital projects when it comes to athletics as well. And we have some other items that will be added on to this list. Some of those things include looking at bleachers at Spalding, a concession press box at Hartsfield High softball, a portable unit for weights at Hartsfield Middle School, and we have to address the track issue at Hartsfield High School. Dr. Newman and I have met with Coker College, the city of Hartsfield, to try to see where we're going to go with that. So we just put that as one of the things that we'll look for in the future and bring back to the board as we move forward, as more information is gathered. But we have started that conversation just for information. Also,
Where are we with that? I mean, we've been going around for almost
Three.
where are we?
So we last met it's probably been about 4 weeks ago, to talk about the resurfacing of the current track, which does not take care of the issue of Hartsville cannot host a track at Byron Park. It's not possible to do it because you don't have enough of the particular events that you can host there because of the size of it. So, but it's truly in disrepair as far as being able to utilize it for practice right now. So the last discussion was the city of Hartsville was going to go back and have a conversation with their council. But again, whether they could afford, or the three of us could afford to chip in money to have the type of renovations where people could host an event there, or whether they would only be able to resurface it just for practice, and we're still in the same situation. Coker's even a little bit in a different, more of a difficult situation because they need even more events than what high school does. And so we started knocking around some prices, for example, and I'll just give you an idea that just very, very general estimate would be about $2.3 million if we built a track ourselves that would cover high school league rules. Coker's was almost double that, the cost it would be to them because of how much more that they need, how much space they need. So, at the very least, we're trying to get the practice track resurfaced so it's usable for current students right now, but this is something that I think, I just don't see the city of Hartsville coming back saying, okay, we're going to build a competition track for everybody to use, because not only do we need to be able to use it for competition, so does Coker. And so that's where we are.
What happened to our inability to host events there when we were doing that for years?
So they've added events now at the high school league, and so there's more events now that have to be.
You talking about field events?
Yes,
Not track events, but
yeah,
field events?
like javelin throw, for example. We don't have that set up anywhere out there to be able to do. I'm trying to think of the other events, obviously pole.
We've got long jump, pole vault, we've got shot put, we've got all those except for javelin, of course, because of the distance, I can understand that.
Javelin was one, and there was at least one or two.
And it's tight.
Jenny, it is. And so, here's the other issue is clearing out the park during events. So you got to be able to block, like if you're throwing javelins, you can't have families out there doing the walking track. So.
I was going to say, even the shot put at the start and finish line,
Yep.
I
It's a
wouldn't want to
dangerous
be
place.
starting or finishing when those shot putters are getting ready to heave.
So again, I think that's something that down the road we'll have to make a decision. If we'll have to make a decision on if that's something.
I mean, as we move forward on that, I definitely, that is the only program that has a potential for significant revenue that we leave laying on the floor, because there is absolutely no way to host an event and charge for said event. So, and people love to come to track meets. Darlington, stands are full at track meets.
When we have 4 or 5 teams there, it's a large number.
Right. And Hartsville has no ability to collect any gate.
And it
on
brings
that.
revenue. It brings revenue into the town.
It brings in revenue.
The city. So, like I said, we've looked at the potential. Just for example, where would we have space to do that? We certainly have space out at Kellytown. That there's a possibility there. We also have some other property that we have in Hartsville that you could potentially utilize for track space. So it's doable. Again, after talking with architects and contractors of recent high school facilities that have been put in. It's about that 2 to 2.3 million. I'm sorry, Mr. Gooding, you have a question?
Well, yeah, but it's not related to the track, so which we can get through.
Okay.
Larry, this might not be the appropriate time to look into it, but I would like for you to consider looking at clear bags.
We did talk about that at the last meeting, that we were going to be definitely exploring that.
And I think it's
Bring it back.
something we need to.
We do it at what, football and basketball? It's required now.
Yes, and we're looking at, what Mr. Govan
In
done.
the schools.
I mean, expanding it
Yeah,
to,
yes,
or,
for backpacks.
oh, backpacks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, not for, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that, we did mention that at the last meeting, that we're exploring potentially moving to clear backpacks. I think you had a question about how would that be paid for.
Right.
And we're going to try to get some pricing for that. I think at our retreat.
Well, the other thing to that is, I think you have groups who want to do charitable things, like we did back to school.
Yep, yep.
And I think we plan it right and let them know early enough so that when they start looking at ordering the bags, for example, they could start looking at maybe trying to help us with that.
I agree.
And the plan is to move forward with that, with the pleasure, at the pleasure of the board. But Ms. Nelson has already started doing some research on the cost. Had some companies, she's reached out to Walmart and some of the other local carriers just to make sure that they can supply them so that parents won't have an issue with trying to get them when needed. So she's already started that process. And lastly, we have conversations as we go around and talk with our principals in reference to things that, wish list things or things that they need to get done. And we jot those things down, and some of those things could be added to the capital list as well once we get through all the schools. I've been through most. I still have a few this week, and as principals give us different things that they want done at their school, we try to add that to the capital list to try to make their schools safer, or just give them some things that they want on their individual campuses.
I have one more question. The irrigation of athletic fields at the high schools, which fields are those?
It's going to be all of them. Hartsfield.
Yeah, but of what fields at those high schools?
At Hartsfield High, it's going to be the soccer field, what's it called?
The cage,
The cage. The cage area and the field right beside it.
the practice field?
The practice field, yes.
Football field.
Because part of the issue is when they're practicing, the grass won't grow because there's no irrigation. So there is a well already there. We had to get it updated and get some things done. But we want to do irrigation at Lamar, Hartsville, and Darlington, to help those fields. And
Like in Darlington, what athletic fields are you gonna?
the football, we're going to be looking at changing the heads because the heads are older. And also Lamar's going to be football as well, and the Cajun, the practice field at Hartsville High. So it's going to be 4 fields combined.
And I see here where you've got like, I know we brought up the fact of metal detectors. Where at Hartsville High School are you planning to put that?
The thought is, and this is our thought as far as they're moving forward, we were looking at middles and high school, all these schools getting metal
Yeah, I'm
detectors.
asking, in particular, I'm interested in Hartsville High School.
No, but the ones that we're purchasing are easily moved, like so a child could actually move them from one site to another. So what we're looking at is doing random buildings. Like if we want to have it in building A today, we can have metal detectors in building A. We can have them in building B because they're so easily movable.
Or football, basketball games,
Anything.
moving for the events at
Anything.
nighttime, and baseball, et cetera.
Right, and what we're thinking is for the high schools, 3. I think we had 2 or 3 for DCIT. Middle schools, at least 2. But you can move them to any event that you would like. Unlike the old Garrett ones that you just walk through, these have the roller, all you do is push them. A child could push them if they really wanted to. We did a demonstration prior to spring break at Dalton High School. Ms. Gerke is here. She want to speak briefly how that
Sure.
went?
So we actually took the whole school through. It took us about an hour. We brought everybody in and took the whole school through one machine. used for entrance into games instead of wanding. They had various settings, so you could set it to how little you wanted it looking for versus, and it didn't pick up like keys. So the ones that they have were pretty neat, but it's very easy. So let's say we had 3 at Darlington High, it would be really easy for me to move them. Today we're gonna walk through at this time. It would be really easy for us to set them up and move the school through, no problem. But they work really well. And
I just have a big concern at Hartsville High School because of the way that campus is set up. I mean, you were gonna play whack-a-mole trying to find a metal detector of where, literally, because you can walk in off of Llewellyn, you can walk in off through
So the-
from Washington Street.
The thought would be is that, for example, during class, randomly, right towards the end of class change, the students don't know when it's happening, but you're basically in a building. And when that class dismisses, you route all the students through. And it's not you don't walk through with anything, it's just something that's sitting on the side. And so they actually exit. And to your point, we've got 13 buildings. You're not going to be able to catch every student doing that, but something is better than nothing, especially with the element of surprise of having it set up at different buildings.
I guess what I'm basically insinuating is we are on the surface making it look like we're doing something, when in reality, we really aren't doing a whole lot because of how that building, there are so many places. That building is a security, that campus is a security nightmare because of how it's set up.
Go ahead, Ms. Gergen.
So we have 4 buildings, we actually have 4 buildings throughout the day that we go into as well, and so that was one of the things we were thinking through. Let's say we have 3 sets. So let's say we decide this Wednesday morning we're rolling everybody through, then it's real easy to say, especially with the way our doors lock now, we can lock all the doors down and only have certain entrances because of the IDs where they can go in. So you have to cut through before you can be routed into the building. So we could set up, and so even the kids that were going back to the old career center.
I'm not pushing against doing it. What I'm saying is, on the campus of Hartsville High School, that is
It's more difficult.
it's just,
No doubt. I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
there's just problems
but-
that exist at Hartsville High School that do not exist at Darlington High School or Lamar High School
But-
because of entry points.
But I think we have to do something. And again, even if it gives, if it's not as, if we're not able to do it to the same effect that the other building is, doing it some is better than not doing it at all.
Well, I would tend to agree with you, Dr. Newman. Realistically, it's a Band-Aid fix. Because there is no school no high school in Dauphin County that is food-proof, if you will. Because number one, when they were built, and when they were built, those issues were not an issue. And because those issues are issues now, you just don't have, all of them have walking spaces. Where you are right now, you got accessibility coming into the school from various angles all day long. The same thing because look at when it was built. Same thing with Lamar, same thing with Dauphin. So there's no difference between any of those schools, including Hartsville. All of them have that problem.
But again, I think to the district's point, it is element of surprise, and you're right, you can't, and they recognize that you can't, but at least like for ball games, you've got it, it's one way in, one way out for all
I
your ball
will
games.
agree
It's
with
worth
that,
it for
yes.
that, because we don't really have as many problems in the school during school days as we do after extracurricular activities. So I think in that, as a purchase, we get a bonus, let's slip it over to the schools and let's run a hall one day. They don't know it, but bam, I got, but now, that along with the clear through bag, I'm not a big fan of put it through bags. I got my jacket in there today. I've got it covered up anyway. Well, what's the point? You're running people through a hardship and an added expense for the district if we end up having to buy them for people because we're requiring that they use clear throughs. Again, I got my jacket in there. I got my gym shorts. I got something. If I want to wrap something, it's going to be wrapped. So I'm not sure about that part, but I think the metal detectors, again, I'm not a fan, just like I'm not a fan of the gates, but at the same time, it's element of surprise. You can catch one room today. They know that I could be checked at any time. So I'm less likely to bring that thing to school.
I have a question. So is the SRO involved in this right random?
Yes. So, again, the more random it is and isolated it is, the more your SRO will be part of that, but also your school administrators.
I'm just curious, like, what would you do if it goes off and you found, I mean, with
Well,
the SRO not there,
Yeah,
is what I'm
it's,
concerned about.
it's what we face today anyways.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if we have to search a student book bag, that's an administrator that's doing the search, so.
But,
And that's what we did through the tester, so we had other administrators from other, like, middle and high schools there too. So we had a room off to the side, we strategically placed it so that if somebody, the only thing they had to remove with these were their MacBooks. Everything else they could walk right through them, so it wasn't.
do you use all three of them at one time?
It was
Because
a
if we-
demonstration.
For this, we just did one, but if we had them set in different locations, yes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at, is like, why would you need more than one at a school at a time if you're not gonna, if you're only gonna do one place at a time? I mean, you're saying,
I do, and so it is labor specific. So
Right.
you've gotta have somebody that's there with it and somebody to grab the book bag, have the student set it down and somebody go through the book bag and search it. So to your point, the SRO can't be at every one of those three locations. And quite frankly, you probably still want your SRO patrolling versus necessarily doing that. But today, if a student, if a student's reported to have something in their book bag, typically, an administrator is part of that process.
okay.
So you're really taking up some time from administrators to do it, but if you're looking at, again, at the element of surprise, it's kind of like with when the drug dogs would come through school, right? Was it foolproof? No, not at all. But did it at least let kids know that there's a chance that the drug dogs are going to be there today and you're going to have to walk past them?
And you can obviously
Same thing with calls.
leave it in your bag, you hear it, man, I got to check. I'm just gonna leave my bag in my classroom and come back later. Oh, Miss Jones, I forgot my bag. I hate to say it, it's tons of ways of slipping through this.
So we're gonna talk about this at our.
Yeah, at the retreat.
But I'm still a big fan of it, it's
Yes.
ball games.
Yes.
I don't care if you do anything else, but the ball games would be wonderful, because you got everybody, you have the public, general public, people not in school trying to cause problems. I don't know, I've never been one.
And the wands aren't quite as, like the new technology. Let me give you an example. They showed where you could have a gun broken down into 4 different pieces, and it picks up the single pieces of a gun, but it doesn't pick up your cell phone. I mean, the way the technology, the algorithms now and everything, they've got cameras that kind of, so there's a lot that can happen with it, but to Wanda's point, yes, if you're on a campus with 13 buildings versus this campus that doesn't have quite as many, or 4, otherwise, the more buildings you have, the more difficult it is, and that's a
That's all I'm
safety
really
issue.
trying to point out,
And that's a
is
safety
that
issue.
we have an overall safety issue at Barstow High School that is unique to that, more unique to that
Yes.
facility than it is to our
Yes.
other facilities.
And we try not to say too much about all that's all, that's why.
And
So
some of
I'm not saying that too, if Ms. Nelson was gonna be at that workshop,
Yes,
we could have more of a non-public conversation about some of that.
that is correct, yes.
And another thing, it's being strategic. In the past, in other districts where we've done, like, we would have, where the students would drop off at the bus, we force them one direction. And we can have the metal detectors where every bus rider would have to go through the metal detector. Same thing as car riders, when they park in the parking lot, if you want to force them through the gym. So there's some strategic things that you can do to try to alleviate some of the things that you're talking about. It's just planning, having administrators involved, and that's just how you make it work. But like Mr. Morphy said, it's just an element of surprise.
Are there gonna have to be teachers or whoever to learn how to use this device? Training or-
It is pretty simple, but they will.
Richard, you can even use that bad
I
But I
think that
would say no to that. We're
Yeah,
not
we-
gonna have teachers.
What they would do is, if we purchase them, they will send somebody in and we will have staff trained at every school. And it
But
took
that would
us,
not be teachers that are being trained for it. Otherwise, we're not gonna have teachers operate those machines to check students.
yeah, typically what we'll do, use some security personnel, like New Jersey has 2 or 3 security personnel outside of the SRO.
And the administrators.
Right.
So are those extra positions we'd have to look at, or is that?
It's people that we currently have.
In-house still?
In-house.
Are there, I think I brought it up, I'm not sure if it was this the other time, but we're gonna have, at least some kind of maintenance contract in place so they can be constant, 'cause I'm sure that would need to be upgraded on a fairly regular basis to keep up with what's going on in our world.
And you can lease them. I think long-term, we'll probably get more value from our money by purchasing them and have a service agreement so they can come back and update and fix anything that we need.
Just remember, this is just a planning stage right now. Still, obviously, logistics hasn't been worked out.
And we'll bring it back to you during the retreat.
Okay, any other questions on the capital project? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We move on. Key to career update, Ms. Shannon Fowler.
Y'all, looks like she's coming to stay a while.
I promise I will get through this as quickly as possible, for you and for me.
We like that.
Okay, so I am Shannon Flowers. I am the Business Engagement Coordinator. As you guys know, I just started in November, so this is my first cohort, my first time working with the internships in the school district. I can wholeheartedly say that it has been a very successful semester. We have seen current lives changed, future trajectories changed, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it. So I want to give you just a little review of what it is that I do as the Business Engagement Coordinator. The purpose is so that I am the one point of contact when someone is looking to get into the school as a business, if they want to come out and do some type of educational plan like financial literacy, or if they want to come out and read to students, they filter those through me instead of having so many different contacts at all the different schools. I also facilitate opportunities for businesses. Some of those include career fairs, doing tours, if they want to mentor students. And then the largest part of what I do is I coordinate the Key to Career internship program. The students that are eligible, we look at the students. They are vetted by their counselors, by their principals, by the career specialists to determine who would be best for the program. We look for students that may not have a plan yet for post-graduation, so they may not be college track. They may not have met their career readiness guidelines yet. So this is to give them an opportunity to explore what they want to do in the future. We look at students that don't have any serious infractions on their records and not failing their courses. Two things that, as I came in, that we started working on that have exceptions, you see the asterisk there. We no longer specifically require that they have early dismissal. If we can work around it with the employer, we want as many students as possible to have the opportunity to do this. So if they don't have early dismissal, the employer may say, okay, well, they can work from 5 to 8, or if they have late arrival, they can work during their first block rather than the fourth block. So we work around that a little bit. Have reliable transportation. Also, a lot of times the students that need this program the most may be the ones that don't have the transportation to and from work. So we wanted to look at ways to provide transportation. It didn't work out so well for us this semester. Dr. Newman can tell you I have been taking a couple of interns back and forth this semester to their job sites because we told them transportation was not going to be an issue, but then the things we had lined up to do that kind of fell apart. So I did that, but I'll tell you a little bit more about this later. We do have some people who are willing to help us out beginning in the fall. They have to have a letter of recommendation from a teacher or an employer and pass an employer-requested drug screening. Once the candidate
applicants are identified by their school. They have to complete an application. They go through an application process so that we can continue vetting them. Students meet with their career specialist and get internship training where they learn soft skills. They learn how to put together a resume. They learn interview processing skills. They select positions that they're interested in from our business partners, and then they interview. Employers will make an offer, and we have a big signing day celebration. The internship commences, and then we do 2 evaluations during the course of the internship. So at the halfway point, they are evaluated to kind of see what skills they're learning and what they could use improvement on. And then again, at the end, they are evaluated. And it is the employer and the mentor that does this, so we get honest feedback about what they've been doing, what they've been working on. Then when the internship concludes, we'll have a certificate ceremony at each of the schools where they will be given a certificate for their work. Also, as you know, this is a paid internship program, and we do ask for a minimum of $10 an hour. We have a couple of employers that do not pay the $10 an hour, but it's very minimum just because they couldn't put it in their budget, but they still wanted to be a part of it. But we do also have some employers that pay up to $20 an hour. So some of these students are getting the opportunity to make some real money and invest money back into our community. Some of the skills that they acquire is not communication, that N is falling down. Information processing, decision making, problem solving, adaptability, craftsmanship, financial literacy, data analysis, time management, accountability, networking, and professionalism. We see the growth in these students over the term of the internship, not just based on, what we think they should be learning, but they are also required to turn their time into me and to complete some paperwork. So I see, early on how many of them have to say, hey, you haven't done your time this week, compared to when we get further in, how on top of things they are, because they're learning that it's part of professionalism to be responsible for what you're doing. I do also want to say on that last screen, that was Logan Berger. So he is not just a superstar on the wrestling mat, he also is an intern.
All those awards.
So prior to this semester, from the program inception in 2019 through this past fall, there were 103 students that had signed an intern pledge, 42 business partners. The gross earnings of these students was $155,000, and 36% of those students had been asked to stay on in some capacity.
Can I interrupt you there?
Sure.
So stay on after that point. Do we monitor those that had internships earlier on, meaning previous
Yes.
years, to see if they then were able to work?
We do, yes.
Like to see with that longer term, 36, go ahead and get it, either it finished and I was still going to school, afterwards it didn't go, but then I applied, and I don't know if we ever.
Yeah, we do follow up, and for example, we have one that's working in the adhesives department at Sunoco. He was one of the very first interns in the program, so occasionally we will follow up to see if he's still at Sunoco. He actually has been hired on through their apprenticeship program, and then he completed their apprenticeship program and is now going to be given the opportunity to work with ISI Robotics to be trained on the new robots that will be going to Sunoco. So we do follow up with those students to see what they're doing. So for spring 2022, a couple of the things that I wanted to point out that are successes for us is that this was our largest cohort to date. We originally set a goal of 75, but of course there were some challenges with COVID. But we still exceeded what we've ever done before, so I'm very proud of that. We have 18 new business partners. As you see down there are 28 business partners that offered internships, but 18 were brand new, have never offered an internship with us before. I wanted to point out that we still have another week remaining in the internship period, so these figures are going to potentially go up. meaning that the $38,541 that these students have made this semester is going to go well beyond that once I have all of their time entered for the last 2 weeks. 57 students signed the intern pledge. I made a note that we have 47 students that will end up completing. You know, we are dealing with high school students. For a lot of them, this is their first time going out into the community to work, their first time with any real responsibility. So we lost 10 of them for various reasons, but I'm very proud of the 47 that we have that are still going because they're doing great work. 13 so far, and we're not even at the end, have been offered to stay on in some capacity after this semester. And some of our new business partners have also already offered to take on interns for the summer and next fall. So we know that we're going to be continuing to grow. Some of the challenges that we faced, the early COVID spike was a challenge for us. We did have some partners that pulled out because of concerns. We delayed the internship start date, so instead of it being a full 12 weeks, it was only 10 weeks this time. Transportation, as I already mentioned, was a huge challenge for us this time, but we have some community volunteers who have agreed to partner with us moving forward, so that responsibility will fall on their charitable organizations. Consistency of preparation across the district. One of the things that came to light is that not all of the schools were preparing the students in the same way. We want to make sure we're being very consistent so that they are all, as the face of Darlington County, going out into these businesses and that they've been equally prepared. So we're in the process of reviewing and implementing some new curriculum across all the high schools, some new standards so that moving forward we'll know without a doubt what the students have learned before they get to the job site. How you all can help is just, mainly spreading this information in the community, because this is not just about student success, but it is community success. But this program is changing lives. So share information with the community about it. Continue to relay to your parents and that their students don't have to go straight to a four-year institution. There are many paths to success. A four-year institution is a wonderful option, but there are multiple options for students. Offer an internship at your place of business. If you're willing to get involved, we would love to have someone placed in your area. I did want to take a minute and thank Dr. Newman because he has a very specific vision of student success and community success. And I think that it's going to do wonderful things for our students here. Our counselors and career specialists for their knowledge and ability to prepare students, because without their preparation, these students wouldn't be ready to go into the workforce. Our students for their commitment to you, our board, for your support of this program. And finally, to our community and business partners, of which there are many, and they have overall been extremely supportive and happy. Like I said, we didn't get 100%, knocked it out of the park, but the majority had really great experiences on both the student and business side. Any questions?
Questions, anyone?
Have you had much feedback from your businesses in the past that you followed up with those that didn't sign back up as to why not, so we can improve, not forcing them, but just obviously for knowledge and information?
Yes, and there have been a couple of different reasons. For one, some have had negative experiences with their students. And, as I mentioned earlier, we've had a few failures.
You tell them they didn't interview right when they picked their student? That's their fault. No, and I don't need to know them all, but I'm just saying, we've done it in the past. We did this time because of nothing to do with y'all, it's just us and some training issues we had going on.
Well, it also with COVID was an issue. People being out of work, them not having someone available to mentor a student, and then, of course, budgeting issues because of the restrictions
And uncertainty.
spending in COVID.
But I would definitely strongly always stay in touch with the businesses because, again, we're trying to help the student out, but at the same time, our ultimate goal is to help both out. if the business has a need and they want to get skilled laborers, so they bring them in, have an opportunity to train them themselves. So you did it, why didn't you do it again? What can we do better about the program, et cetera? So I didn't know if you had exit interviews with the business or.
I do, I have an exit survey, and I also follow up, when I started, I followed up with anyone who had ever hosted an intern before personally to find out if they were willing to do it again, and if not, what we could do differently.
Great. I mean, I love the program. I think it's great. I like the signing day. Give as much attention to that as you do the student who is a scholarship somewhere. I mean, it's just good.
Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Just a couple quick notes. First of all, Shannon got the luxury of starting in November after we finished the first surge of COVID, and we all know what happened in January and February, some of the challenges. You all know my target number was 75, and in January I thought that we wouldn't even get close, but to have 57 on that signing day with a target of 75 after going through Omicron surge in January, and that's a testament to our businesses, kids, but also to Ms. Flowers and your efforts. I mean, you stayed committed to taking care of it. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that Ms. Flowers' dedication came through when she walked into my office and said, "Is it okay if I transport students to their jobs?" That has been an issue. That's been a barrier for the past several years. And, of course, we had to worry about the insurance issues and everything else, but her commitment was, look, I'll take these kids to work because they want to work and the businesses want them there. And if this helps them get employment after graduation, we got to get them there. And so I appreciated that. We met with our business cabinet and with our pastor minister cabinets and talked to them about the program and told them about the transportation issues. And the minister group stepped up and said, "Oh no, you won't have to worry about that again. And we've got people in our churches that can take these kids. It doesn't matter if they're in Darlington or Hartsville or Lamar or wherever. We will help you with this. You just got to let us know the kids that need it." So that is one that's opening up more students for us. As we've talked about, this is a high-risk program, but it's high reward. We're targeting the students that literally do not have a game plan when they graduate high school as a senior. So their senior year, and they are not on track to go to college. They are not on track to go to a 2-year. They don't even know what they're going to do. And so our goal is to intervene quickly and put them on a path that when they do walk across the stage, they at least have a job and can take care of themselves and potentially take care of their families. More importantly, we have story after story where the employers have said, not only do we want to give them a job, but we're going to send them to college. We're going to send them to Florence Darlington Tech, and we'll pay for a 4-year degree for them if they stay with us because we believe in them that much. And again, you're talking about high-risk kids. You're not talking about your high flyers. These are kids that didn't have a plan, and they blossom when they get into an environment where people are saying, we're going to invest in you. We've got stories of people buying clothes for kids, of buying work boots, of buying meals for them. You're talking about kids that all of a sudden can pay the light bill in their home for their parents because nobody can pay the light bill. So the way this really impacts the community and impacts a segment of our kids that were invisible before, quite frankly, is huge. Does that mean our higher flyers can't participate? No, they can too. So there's options for all of our students. As you saw, our state champion wrestler was in full gear at his internship there. But our focus is building up from the bottom as much as building and pushing the top. So Shannon, I appreciate your efforts this year. It was not an easy start. It was not an easy year. But to be able to come out on the other side where we are right now, I think you've done a great job. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, budget reports and federal funds reports. Ms. Renee, anything there?
Not really, projecting
more money than we budgeted, so that's a good thing, so.
All right, moving on to action items.
Can I,
Yeah.
do we have, I mean, I know we've got to spend the extra one before we get to, I mean, you have to spend in order. Do we have a plan for all of this money?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean-
website.
we have to have it on the state's website.
Right, I mean, I know, but they're kind of generalized buckets.
No, it's detailed.
I mean, it's specifically, it's itemized like what we're,
It's-
so like, so when we did the,
It took 5 drafts to get them to pass it. It's very itemized, and we're now working on the amendments to it because,
okay, but that's not what we're getting here.
No,
no,
you don't get the detailed plan every board meeting. The detailed plan was submitted before we could even start spending any of the money.
Right.
And then you're just getting an update on those monies being spent on a monthly basis. But you certainly could, you know, the plan, if you remember, it had to be put out to the public.
Right, but I guess we've just never seen the detailed itemized stuff. I mean, we kind of get this every month, which is kind of a thumbnail, as opposed to what the focus, et cetera, et cetera.
So I guess I would need to know kind of specifics of what you're looking for. Again, what we're doing on a monthly basis is reconciling what we said we were going to spend it on by account number, not by person necessarily. So you don't see the person's individual names on there, but you certainly see.
Can we get something a little more detailed than this is what I'm asking? I mean, this just says, okay, we spent this much.
this is an effort to get this with all of, I mean, it all.
It doesn't have to be every month, but I mean, but I think for transparency, I mean, I think we just need to have I mean,
Yeah, and for transparency, I mean, we're doing exactly what every other school district is required to do. I mean, we're doing everything that we can.
so you're saying you are incapable of giving us something more detailed than this?
I would need just specifics of what more you would like. So if you.
The plan of where you,
No, it's what they submitted to for approval.
correct.
Yeah, if you want to see
It's
the
on the
plan,
website.
we can resend that out. We can certainly resend that back
You want to see
out.
what it actually spent on what, is what you're saying.
No, what they're proposing hasn't been spent, but what they're proposing, which is on the plan, which is on the
Yeah.
website.
We've already spent some, right?
Yeah, in fact, it's on our website and it's on the state website as
Okay.
far as the plan itself. But no, like I said, if you look at the plan and then you look at what you're getting each month and you have questions about what else could be provided, certainly, you know, I would just need to know more than can we provide more? What exactly, you know, when you look at the overall plan and you look at what you're getting each month, what else can we help provide? And then we can go in that direction. And it is, I mean, we've talked about it every month. It is beyond the moving target at this point in time.
And just kind of reiterate, there's 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
1 was ballpark,
We spent it.
Great.
It's on here.
I'm just asking.
3.7.
Okay, and then 2 was ballpark, and
It is 17.2,
then 33.
38.7.
Okay.
And of course, to your point, Wanda, you have to spend all of
One before you can spend
and
two.
then all of 2.
And by 2024, correct?
Yes. Everything's got to be spent by 2024, but.
And that was, I'm with one, I'm gonna have to look at it again too, because I'm just anxious, you know, my big concern was not with y'all, but with the forcing of spending it and spending it wrong, because we don't have the time nor resources to put that much money in play to where it's beneficial. You don't have the people, if it's to be in progress for remediation, you don't have the staffing, so allow us time to implement it. And I don't know if we've made a request for variance. Has anyone, since got together, make a recommendation, please? What's the rush in spending? What is your rush in spending this wrongly, I guess?
And I think the state, I mean, everybody at the state level is saying the same thing.
Okay.
You know, it's the feds. And so you basically have to get permission from the feds. But to your point, to have this amount of money and this amount of variance, when I say variance, in our plan, in that overall plan that we submitted, we were doing after-school programs. We were allocating X amount of dollars for every one of those after-school programs. Then we had the Omicron surge. We couldn't do right there, that's money that's not spent the way we thought it was gonna be spent, you know. So what do we do with that money now? You know, how does that move? And so, we're also required to update our plan, on the website and on the state website every 6 months if we change it. So that's a change for us.
So I'm assuming that if we already have after-school programs in our daily work the past 10 years, we can take those funds allocated, reallocate to something else, whether it be capital, whatever, and then replace it with ESSER money.
Correct. That is correct. So that's why it's so hard to say exactly down, you know, you can talk general terms, but when you're talking about programmatic changes, like I said, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, we have this amount of money, and how are we gonna spend it? We were talking about it this morning, you know, you gotta be careful about going out and trying to spend it on people now, because by 2024, it's over with. So anybody you talk to, you have to say, this money's not gonna be there after 2024. So now you're getting into more one-time spending. Well,
What's the impact of one-time spending? What can you put in for one-time spending?
see, I'd rather extend it for 5 more years.
In smaller amounts.
In smaller
And that's
amounts.
my whole thing, have we
And spend
petitioned
it
the state or the
targeted.
federal, whoever, this federal
Yeah.
funding to the feds? That's my biggest issue. I mean, what is the point in them pushing to get it out? I know you want to improve it, but you can't improve if you don't have the resourcing and manpower to put it in.
So being limited to spend it only a certain way, that's another problem. The flexibility is not there when they say you have to spend it this way in this amount of time. Well, I can be real frugal and make that money last probably a good 5 to 10 years and spend it on targeted situations. I think you already would agree with
And
that.
be able to measure improvement.
Yeah.
And which is, I'm hearing from a lot of districts, in-state and out-of-state, of how they are using the funds,
Yep,
like we just mentioned. It's legal,
yep.
just replace and use those funds elsewhere, but if you gotta use it, let's do the best you can, so creatively using it.
It is, and we're also tracking every one of those programs and tracking data with every one of the programs too. So the after-school, for example, we've got to track how are those students performing versus students that aren't in an after-school program. We have to track that from federal guidelines that we're doing. So it is just, it's a lot. But I understand your ultimate concern is how do we know we're spending the money that we were allocated, and how do we know we're spending it in the way that we said we were going to spend it? Totally understand that, and we want to make sure that you all have enough information that you're comfortable with that. So,
Okay, any other questions on that?
And where is it on the website, the district website, where do you find the plan? Can you say it there? Or no?
that's an already question. So,
I believe it's under COVID resources, but I'm not sure exactly where that is right now.
That's okay.
Okay, we'll move on. Action items, property approval. Dr. Newman?
write this down real quick.
It's under quick links, COVID resources.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I want to make sure I get that information. I wrote it down so we can get that for y'all. Chairman Jeffers, members of the board, I am coming to you to ask you to approve the administration's recommendation for some purchase of property. This property is off of Highway 52 in Darlington County. Just a couple pieces of information about this property is that it's not only is it property, but it's also some buildings as well, and what I would consider maintenance types of buildings and structures. It is approximately 112 acres worth of property. Again, the types of buildings, there is a office building that has about 7 or 8 separate offices in it. There's some bay areas for storage of heavy equipment. There are fuel tank enclosures. And so there is, there's, not only is there acreage, but there is also buildings that we're looking at. One of the key things that we would like to be able to utilize this property for right off the bat is centralizing more of our operations and maintenance to this particular location. Right now, we are spread out in our attendance areas, and we're also pretty full in the Darlington location. At the district location, we're limited on space that we have there. So one of the key pieces that we'd be able to utilize this property for is to look at a centralized operations and maintenance for the district. And again, with the buildings that are currently on this, it would be a pretty easy lever to push with that. The other thing is that being able to have contingency property. We've got contingency property in Lamar. We've got contingency property in Hartsville. We've got contingency property in Darlington. Obviously, anytime we can, as I say, buy dirt, and it's a good purchase for the district. They're not making dirt anymore, so it's limited. But what I'm asking the board to do is to approve this section of land off of Highway 52 for multi-uses for the district.
All right. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion.
One discussion, question just pertaining to it. What do we do with fuel now for our tractors and our equipment? Do we just go to a gas station where we have accounts, or do we have tanks?
We have tanks that they come and fill up, and it's ironic you mentioned that because we were just having this conversation this morning that the tanks that we have aren't large enough. Our maintenance folks are saying, the tank, we need to have more deliveries of gas because we're running out of gas in the size tanks that we have.
Okay, and mechanics, we've got mechanics for all of our equipment.
Yes and no.
Do we have mechanics, I guess?
We don't have specific mechanics.
We don't have mechanics that work on our tractors, our mowers. We have to service that and send that elsewhere. I mean, that's just one of those things, a little off target here, Mark, we'll get to this, but that's just one of the things that I wanted to ask for. When we talk about apprenticeships and internships, with what we used to have, we had the ability, small engines, et cetera. These are larger equipment, diesel engines. I'm like, auto mechanic, it's a shame. That's got to be expensive with many lawnmowers and equipments and backhoes, backhoes and different things. I know golf courses have got full-time mechanics to service their equipment. Just FYI going forward, something to consider, I would think, from a cost-saving standpoint. Look what you pay for maintenance, blade sharpening, et cetera. Simple things. I can't imagine, not mention longevity of your equipment.
So, Mr. Johnson,
Yes, and we did have one individual that serviced on the small engine repairs. That's become a little bit obsolete because most of the stuff we use now, we have to send it out to be contracted. So it would be something that we can.
The tractors, the diesel equipment, I know we got a lot of those and all these zero turns.
That's a great idea. It'd be nice if we had somebody on staff that could
I
do
envision facility for district maintenance, all this stuff. And our buses are state, so that's something different. And let's go ahead and do this, folks. I got a question on fuel.
So for clarification, what is the immediate purpose of this land going to be?
To centralize our operations and maintenance throughout the district and county. Again, we are completely full as far as space.
So this is the area that's currently housed at the district office?
Yep.
Yep. And when you talk about buildings being on this property, what type of building? I mean, is it buildings that we would be able to use for those operations?
Yes, so for example, large outdoor sheds. So they're not fully enclosed, but they're covered to protect equipment. And then also there's one large enclosed area that has maintenance bay. Yeah, that has a maintenance bay and the lifts and everything. So, it's actually what we're lacking some of where we currently are.
Mine's a segue to her. to-
Well, I can I think?
Well, mine's gonna tag on to yours.
Okay, all right, tag, hold on,
Well,
tag.
just tag quick, because I already had my hand up first.
I wasn't finished.
Well, you want, okay, that's no
All
problem.
right, go ahead. You finished?
No, I have no.
When will we be able to move in, when will we be able to transition maintenance over there?
So, you know, again, because the facilities are in place as is, we'll be looking at over the next 3 to 6 months at the latest. Again, we've got to make sure the inside offices are set up the way we need them. Got to make sure that the security is set up the way we need it as well. To make sure that we have cameras in place and security systems. But that's not.
Well,
So, I mean, I'm just trying to do the math in my head. So the space that we have now for all of that clearly is not 100 acres. So,
It's not, and so, you know, when, you know, like I've talked about in the past, that the school district is always looking for property, what I call contingency property. And that is because they're not manufacturing acreage or dirt. Anytime you have an opportunity, we initially were looking at smaller amounts, but when the opportunity came to buy more, again, from an investment standpoint, but also from being able to utilize property. Let me give you an example. Typically, if you build a new high school today, that takes about 60 to 70 acres of property. If you build a new middle school, it's approximately 30 acres is what they tell you that you should look for. A new elementary school, anywhere is between 15 to 20 acres. And so when you look at being able to not only purchase property, but it becomes available to get more, it's just a good investment, first of all. If you look at what's happened to property and real estate in the past 2 years even, you know, that's not going to change anytime soon. And so costs are going to continue to escalate, and the opportunities are going to be even more difficult as, you know, prices continue to spiral upwards. So again, it's always a good idea, a good business investment if you can have contingency property that can be utilized for multiple reasons. But certainly our first reason right now is, the first thing we would start with is operations and maintenance.
so if we wanted to carve out an area in this, however many acres and for our maintenance group, and we wanted to get down the road, sell some of it or sell the rest of it, or break it into tracts and stuff, I mean, could we do have the option to do that?
We would, yeah, certainly would. So, you know, the flexibility is there. Again, having more property gives you a lot more options like that. So we could potentially sell some of it down the road. Again, land is not going to go down in value, so you always have the ability to sell it for more. But again, there's just a lot of flexibility in that.
Do we routinely look at the other properties that we own in the county to determine, do we want to keep holding, do we want to continue to hold on to them, or is now a good time to sell? Do we do that?
We do, and you know, a lot of times it's driven by the market and demand. You know, property is more valuable to people who want that property at that moment, right? So for instance, the different properties we have around the district right now, if somebody was looking to develop property and ours is right next to it, and they would be interested in purchasing ours, then it's immediately valuable to those people. If there's not much of an interest in using it for whatever that type of business may be at that moment, it's not worth as much. But we don't actively market the property at this point in time, you know, unless we have a good feel that it's a good time to sell it. You know, usually there is a demand for the property first. And Jamie, you work a little bit with real estate, commercial real estate. I mean, it's usually the people looking for it first that kind of creates the demand. But again, the more property you have, the more chance you have for multiple options for that.
Okay, question? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes. 2022-23 general operations budget. This is for our first reading, and we will actually get into the nuts and bolts of this at our work session. This is just using the Senate version right now, so it's just a blueprint, I guess you'd say.
Yes, so we will discuss in the work session, and I make a motion to accept the first reading.
Second.
Second, discussion.
When will our second reading be? Because our work session is after our board meeting.
Well, no, we've got a work session this month.
Oh, this work
And
session,
it's
yeah,
June.
not the June work
Right.
session. Gotcha.
But-
Sorry, my bad, sorry, ignore.
No, but I'm glad you asked that question.
Because you might not have had a work session
Right.
this month.
So that, and we're kind of, based on what we're hearing from the legislators, we originally had the second reading on, make sure I got the right copy in front of me. Second reading was going to be on June 13th, and we're actually looking at potentially having second reading on the 27th of June because of what's going on with the legislators right now, and they're not having answers. So we gotta pass a budget by June 30th. And what we're hearing is that they may not really get to the table until the 15th of June to kind of hammer out what's really going to happen. So at that work session in May, we can talk about that. We may need to look at moving the date out, and it'll be a special call meeting.
Right, and that's why I say, I have questions for the meeting, but for the work session, but for the sake of moving forward, because there's so much uncertainty now, let's just move forward for formality, and then let's discuss at the work session.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of the motion for first reading of the budget? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Superintendent's update.
Just had a couple of items that I wanted to share with the board. First is to give, we saw some of the awards that we had earlier with our band students. We did have another award for the Hartsville High School Band that the South Carolina Band Directors Association has announced that Hartsville High School has earned the Outstanding Performance Award for 2021-2022. The Performance Award is the highest achievement band programs in South Carolina. To earn this award, students must have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in all areas of their program. Points are earned for marching band championships, region and all-state band, concert performance, and solo and ensemble. So it's kind of an aggregate award based on how well the program does in all phases. So I did want to give kudos to the Hartsville High School Band for that. And then the next item, I mentioned that our Title I audit had gone extremely well, and the state had recognized the district for that and given positive comments to the district. We also just finished a desk audit for exceptional education for our special ed services. And again, we had a great audit, and basically they completed a review of the updated policies and procedures submitted and found that the issues of noncompliance have been resolved that we had in the past, and/or recommendations were implemented. Pleased to inform that Darlington County School District has corrected all of the findings in a timely manner, and again, just efficiency, and these audits are very difficult and challenging. ask for lots of information. So, Ms. King, Sarah Tu, Renee Douglas and her staff, all of those folks, again, are doing the right things and on the right path and providing the documentation that needs to be there for the State Department to pass those. The other thing I'd like to mention is teachers, we'll have an update on this at the work session as well. But as far as technology and technology devices, we've been able to refresh all of our teacher devices over the past month or so. So all teachers are pretty excited about having new MacBooks and new iPads. The new iPads actually have keyboards that are built in with those. And then we also have just finished a district-wide assessment and evaluation of what is our new projection device going to be. So right now you see this big projector that's hanging and shining there. Those are going to be a thing of the past very soon, very quickly. Basically, flat panel touchscreens have taken place from a price standpoint and from a function standpoint. So that is what we're moving towards. We had a big user group across the district that had a chance to look at many different devices, as well as interactive projectors. But Mr. Brown's going to be giving a presentation at the work session about more in depth about this, where we're kind of headed with that. But I can tell you there's a lot of excited teachers right now that have seen the devices. They're movable, so before we had to mount boards, and they were in the middle of the whiteboard, and we couldn't do anything else because they were there. And these boards are actually movable now, and they're wireless access, so you don't have to have cords connected to them. So excited about that for the teachers. And then I had the Teacher of the Year group with me last week, Cabinet. They were all just super excited about having new devices. So, well, that's it. Last item I want to mention is our Orange Frog Random Acts of Kindness Day is coming Saturday, 14th from 9 to 12. I sent the board the plans for all the schools and what they're doing in our communities. Just had a lot of positive feedback from our businesses, our nonprofits, and our churches about how excited they are that they're getting a chance to do this with us. And they're really excited to see what kind of impact this has on our community. When you have our students going out and experiencing what it's like to give to others. So looking forward to it. Hope to have some good coverage for it, but more importantly, some good stories about it. So if you're able to hit a school, hit where one of the areas are that our students are going to be, I highly encourage that. So that's everything I have for the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions? Anyone? Okay, we'll move on to board member input. Ms. Kelly.
Except congratulations. It was nice to have a room full of people, students and parents today.
Again, here, congratulations on our students, and congratulations to Dr. Newman for your top 3 superintendents here. When we find out you advance, you get that for superintendent.
Appreciate that.
Sir?
I appreciate that. And they've already made that decision.
Well, I hadn't seen nothing.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So I made top 3. I didn't make top. That's okay. We're working for top. Next, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish, so we'll have more to talk about.
So congratulations on you making top 3.
Dawson.
Just congratulations to all the staff and the students for the award they received. And I'd like to give kudos to the finance department. I think I took it upon myself when I did have some time to go above the way to try to explain some all of this is going on. And they got a mess that we have to do to report. I think it would be wise for the rest of us to take some time, if we have some time to go sit down and look at the marathon material they have to produce, and they have to do it pretty quickly. And they change their minds, I think, around the student, we got somebody over in another district with us, in the, I guess, in the top 5. And I was trying to recruit him, but he won't come. So, I'm gonna still keep at it though. Excellent news too. Tremendous news too. That's it.
Okay. Jamie?
Nothing, I'm just mentioning something on fuel. How does that affect us? You know, the fuel shortage, you need to settle this statewide issue with school buses, et cetera. Where do we plan with that? And that's,
So, Mr. Johnson, did we get a shipment today?
Not that I'm aware of, he has not said anything on
stay today.
So if we don't get it by tomorrow, we could be in a serious bind.
Okay, so when that happens, when that happens probably, are we allowed to go virtual for those students and not count against us? That's part of our disaster plan.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're good there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want that, but again, if you can't get them to school, you know, you're.
Listen, we get backed into a corner and can't transport, 3/4 of our kids to get into a building.
I don't want virtual, but at the same time, that's a big positive, big plus for them
We
to
have to
try to
make
put in
those
place
investments.
to utilize it. Okay.
And
We purchase fuel locally from distributors.
Stated.
the state is the people.
I know the state does, but I said, well, they don't have it. We get it locally, charge it to them.
I like the idea, but I mean, because
I
there's
don't know,
people
we'll
there.
see.
but- Yeah, I'm sure them dealing with Exeter
See,
district.
we don't pay for fuel.
I know,
The state
let them
does.
send them the bill if they can't get us fuel.
How does that work? I hate to ask this question, but
I don't know.
you're right, the buses are state-owned, state-driven, not driven, we drive, but fuel, serviced, et cetera. So in their budgets, we had an increase, I'm sure there's provisions for situations like this for them. Where does that increase in budget expense go to? How does that fund it? Does that make sense?
It does.
And you may not know that, I don't mean to throw that at you, but I'm
Yes.
just curious, how does,
I'd have to research,
okay.
where that comes from,
Does it come back to us or against us? That's something, a different pool of funds automatically.
So from like bus driver salaries, that comes to us. But as far as the actual maintenance and fuel
They
and all
just
those things,
provide that facility for a fee, just turnkey, and we staff it, and everything else. Insurance is not, none of that is us.
that's right.
So if there's an actual shortage of fuel is what it is?
Yes.
For the state?
Yes, the state transportation.
Which hasn't been a lot of talk about it, but it slipped, and I'm like, well, this is pretty big, guys, you know.
It is, to your point, I mean, you're not hearing about it in the news, but I know all of the local school districts were given that information on Friday this past week, so.
We have the fuel cards, correct? That all, like, so our maintenance workers and all, they able to get their own fuel out of our budget?
No, we actually have our own tanks
That's here.
that they get the fuel from.
Okay.
So they come and deliver fuel to us.
Mr. Scoville?
Just a couple things. Number one is I would like to congratulate Dr. Jenkins and her staff for the excellent report that was given in terms of the federal funds and how the audit came out, because it's been a while since we've had that kind of audit and that kind of results. And I really think she and her staff really need to be recognized for doing that. Number two is I also would like to congratulate Renee and her staff, because it's got to be very difficult when you're getting different reports every day. You look at the news from the state of South Carolina and budgeting, because you remember, a couple of years ago, we operated off of the same budget for another year because they did not have a budget. And from what I hear, what I've observed, there is still that turmoil between the Senate and the House. So I think, she has a lot to deal with that. So I kind of agree with them. We really need to really look at that when we start talking about where we are and appreciate what we have. The other thing is, I would like to also congratulate the award winners. That's it.
I'd like to congratulate all the award winners and the teachers and coaches that were behind them the whole time and helping to steer them along. Congratulations to Dr. Newman for that honor that he was given. I'd also like to thank Ms. Renee and her staff for just the bureaucratic work that you have, policy and everything that you just have to go through to even try to get done what you get done. And I'd also like to congratulate all our teachers and staff out there for a job well done so far this year. And we just can never say thank you enough.
Okay. Ms. Hassel.
No, I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, we all pretty much touched everything I wanted to say also. But remember, we have graduation coming up before we meet again, except for maybe our work session. But so I think if you want to attend, you need to let people know that you are, right?
Yes, so make sure if y'all want to do graduations, if you want to just send it to me, I'll make sure that I get it to the right folks. I know our principals make sure to hold out seats for everybody. Remember, they're all at the same time on the 27th at 9 a.m. and then Mayo's is on the 26th at 6 p.m. So.
Okay. Also, Ms. Douglas and her staff, all these clean audits we're getting, I mean, just a few years ago, we had some problems. It's sure nice to have somebody in there to take care of these problems, make sure we don't have those problems again. We can't say it. Thank you to her and her staff and us. We appreciate that. And how are we coming on our vacancies?
Had 51 as of 5 o'clock today. The contract signing deadline is 4 o'clock tomorrow, so we'll have a much clearer picture at that point. Just kind of put it in perspective for you. We brought on 47 new hires this semester. About a third of those are first-year teachers right out of college. The other two-thirds are from other districts coming to us.
So we're probably better shape now than we were this time last year, is that correct?
Yes, sir. A little bit.
A little bit better. 51 still a lot to have to hire.
That's right.
Okay. All right, and also thanks and congratulations on our award winners. It was nice to have a full house here tonight. First time in several years we've done that. That was wonderful. Okay, we'll move on to personnel actions.
I move to accept the recommendation along with it.
Okay. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion for personnel action? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Executive session.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, we did not receive gas. Florence did receive gas, so they said if we need some, we don't get ours by tomorrow, we will get it from Florence.
Okay.
Said Florence received gas, we didn't. If we don't have any by tomorrow, they're gonna let us borrow some from Florence.
Okay. All right. Executive session. Motion to go in.
I make a motion we enter executive session to discuss personnel matters and property matters.
Second. Discussion on that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we're now going to executive session, personnel matters and property matters. Okay, we're now back in open session. Thelma made a motion to come out, Charles second. I would entertain any motions to be made.
I'd like to make a motion to increase the $500 bonus for the non-classifieds to 1,000.
Non-certified.
Non-certified, excuse me.
Have a second.
Second by Thelma.
Thelma? Any discussion? All in favor of that motion? Raise your hand. Opposed? Motion passes.
I move we go home, Jim, I need to talk to you.
I gotta hurry, I gotta get my dad, I gotta check on him, I got a little call.
All right, we now see.
What's that?